Здравствуйте, мои уважаемые зрители.
Hello my dear viewers, April 1st continues in our yard, and the traditional material is devoted to military reports, what is happening on the fronts of the war in Ukraine. And we'll start from north to south, what I now see, namely, the news that comes from Kiev. They say that on the right bank, Russian troops withdraw their forces north of the highway. Zhytomyr, Kiev, H line, Borodyanka, Bucha. That is, an offensive on the environment, Kiev, and for obvious reasons, because in general, in this direction, it was decided to switch to active defense. Accordingly, those troops that have moved far ahead are now being withdrawn, and at the moment, there is only one question: on which line the Russian troops will decide to stop. Version 2. The first one is Borodyanka, Bucha, and further border Belabat-Ruskoy, or even further north. So far, there is no news on this subject. We will watch, by Chernigivskaya areas. No serious clashes have yet been observed. There is movement of Russian convoys, and in general, they all go in the direction of the exit from Ukraine. And accordingly, it is further transferred to the south. A huge number of troops, as I said yesterday, are being withdrawn from this area and transferred to the main direction. And the most remarkable thing is that the armed forces of Ukraine, that is, the garrison from Kiev, it does not pursue Russian troops, but is also hastily loaded, some by echelons, some by car trailers. And they are also being transferred to the Donbass. More precisely, in the eastern part of the Dnepropetrovsk region. That is, the maximum possible concentration of troops, that's it in this region, comes from both sides at once. Nobody is interested in Kiev anymore. Nor Chernigivskaya, nor Samchina. All attention is focused on the Donbass, Kharkovskoy, Dnepropetrovskoy, and Zaporozhskoy areas. And now, in fact, the situation is very much like summer. Rather, the end of spring, the beginning of summer, 1943. When both sides, after the fighting ended, around March 1943, on the southern flank of the Soviet-German front, went over to active defense and prepared their forces for a decisive battle. This is the same thing we are seeing today in Ukraine. It is obvious that the plan of attack on Ukraine, which was originally, it has already been completely revised, changed, and now the main efforts are transferred to the southern direction. And the only question is where the Russian troops wish to gain a foothold and keep their positions further until the moment when the battle for Donbass is over. Well, accordingly, continue to act according to the circumstances. I think we'll find out in the next few days. Moreover, in the southern part, Sumskoy areas. In general, yesterday the Russian armed forces and the Ukrainian armed forces reached the line of the state border. And so far, no one is going anywhere. There is relative silence here. In general, the state border line is like a front line. At present, it reaches almost Kharkov, on the direction Izium. So far, there has been no significant movement, either forward or backward. I have corrected the information. At the moment, the front line consists approximately in the area of the village Dolina, that is, approximately the border, Kharkovskoy and Donskoy areas. There is a little progress there in the triangle, Rubezno, Severodonetsk, Lysychansk, near Gorlovka. The cannonade has not subsided for the third day, and People's Militia Troops DNR and the Russian Federation gradually, slowly gnaw through the defense here. Nothing new here yet. Every day there is progress, but rather slowly, and in the south of this front, fighting is going on in the area Velikaya, Novosyoka, without the capture of which, further advances of the troops of the Russian Federation are quickly impossible. Therefore, now there are battles for this settlement, as a result of which, obviously, the offensive will continue. Mariupol. The Russian armed forces and the troops of the Donetsk People's Republic compress the encirclement. The fighting is already on the territory of the plant, Azovstal, and in general, well, as if over the past few days we have been stating that this is folk or resistance. Yes, desperate, because, Azovstal, no one will be taken prisoner, and they understand this very well. and therefore they fight to the end. That is, there will be several more days of serious bloody battles. And finally, the southern flank of the front, Kherson, here waiting for the governor, Kim, confirmed. Russian troops began to intensify their operations and slowly move the front line towards Nikolaev. All localities here in Kherson areas completely released, and Russian troops are already moving on Nikolaev-Chigina. Moreover, yesterday British intelligence reported that they were observing a very rapid concentration of Russian troops in this direction, almost tripled in size in the last week, and this leads them to the conclusion that here, the Russian troops are up to something. This is what the current situation looks like at about 13:00 Moscow time. The next review of events at the front is expected. Goodbye.
До свидания.